Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 580 based on novel. So let's start. After Wang Lin left the green heavenly peak, esteemed Green Bull stayed sitting on the top of the mountain, looking into the distance. After a long time, he muttered something only he could hear. The Celestial Emperor has only come out of closed-door cultivation for several years. The Green Devil continent indeed couldn't hold it any longer. The first generation's divination is very accurate. However, some subtle things are out of place and the ancestors' method was too soft. It is not suitable for the current situation. The Green Devil continent's goal is also my Great Soul sect's goal. It is also the Gui Yi sect's goal. Esteemed Green Bull suddenly smiled. Lu Wen ran. As his words echoed, water-like ripples appeared behind him and a middle-aged man walked out. This man wore a green Dao robe and looked ordinary, but he gave off the fluctuations of someone at the mid-stage of Void Turbulent. He stepped out and stood behind esteemed Green Bull with his hands respectfully clasped. Disciple Lu Wen ran greets teacher. Green Bull didn't turn around. He looked at the cloud in the distance and calmly said, "Did you meet him at the Pill Sea?" Disciple was with the Gui Yi sect's Ouyang Hui and Uncle Master Meng Zihai battling against the Green Devil continent messengers. According to teacher's order, Uncle Master Meng pretended we were no match and escaped using the cloud boat, so I didn't see this person. In 7 days, go to the third heavenly bull meridian with him. Esteemed Green Bull closed his eyes. Disciple obeys. The middle-aged man's expression remained the same, but his eyes shined an indiscernible amount. Ripples echoed and he disappeared. In a flash, 5 days of the remaining 7 days passed. During these 5 days, Wang Lin remained at his peak and immersed himself in the multi-layered illusion spell. All the materials were used according to the method in the jade, and Wang Lin had refined himself a black ghost sail. This sail was weaved after melting countless materials. Although it looked like cloth, it was only its looks. However, it was not complete yet. Its body was formed, but it was still missing a dead soul. Once a dead soul had been added, it could be used to cast the multi-layered illusion spell. Wang Lin's eyes lit up inside the cave and his right hand reached out at the sail. He grabbed the sail and left the cave for the first time in 5 days. He remembered esteemed Green Bull saying that he had 7 days. He only had 2 days left, so he was going to the Ghost Peak to find a dead soul to fuse with the sail. His figure disappeared, and when he reappeared, he was outside the burning mountain. He looked to the north. According to the map of the Great Soul sect, the Ghost Peak was there. Without hesitation, Wang Lin charged toward the Ghost Peak. In the north end of the Great Soul sect, there was a forbidden land surrounded by endless fog. Few disciples came here. Only when they needed a dead soul would they come here to look for one with their respective teachers. Only core disciples with high cultivation levels might come by themselves. There were large amounts of dead souls gathered here by the Great Soul sect. Although the quality wasn't high, they were easy to obtain. After all, the Great Soul sect was famous for its illusions, and without the Ghost Peak, most disciples wouldn't be able to complete their ghost sails. Over the countless years, although the dead souls were constantly replenished, there still weren't many dead souls there. After all, the Great Soul sect had great demand for dead souls. Many of these dead souls had been gathered by people of the Great Soul sect countless years ago as a task from the sect. However, few to little could cultivate on their own, so they had to be refined over time. A vast majority of them were directly sealed here and were left to be taken by a disciple in the future. On the evening of the 5th day, the sky was hazy and looked very depressing when Wang Lin arrived outside the Ghost Peak. This mountain was covered in fog and was extremely gloomy. There were gusts of cold wind, making it seem like the underworld. However, Wang Lin didn't feel any discomfort at all. Maybe it was due to his cultivation, or the fact that he had turned his domain into the underworld river before. Life and death cycle, the changes of the underworld river. Wang Lin was no stranger to such things. He didn't pause as he stepped toward the Ghost Peak. When he got close, there was a ripple of restrictions echoing around Wang Lin, as if it was determining if Wang Lin had the qualifications to enter. Soon, the restriction dissipated and Wang Lin calmly entered the Ghost Peak. The Ghost Peak was a bare mountain and very tall, as if it was going to pierce the sky. There was no grass, only graves. These graves were densely packed, and there were thousands of them filling up the mountain. Bursts of cold aura shrouded the area. If one stood there and closed their eyes, they would feel endless roars echoing here. Although it was silent here, this feeling was extremely strong. Wang Lin walked past the graves. They each contained more or less a dead soul inside. They were all in a sealed state, and sometimes the seals were loosened and some of their aura floated out. Wang Lin was silent along the way. His divine Sene spread out as he walked toward the top of the mountain. As he walked up, the number of graves decreased. He was about to reach the top when he saw an extraordinary grave. This was the only grave with a tombstone. The writing on the tombstone was blurry and gave off the smell of decay. It was unknown how long it had been there. There was a woman with long hair wearing white below the tombstone. She was kneeling there and was weeping. The crying entered Wang Lin's heart. It was very clear and seemed to stir something inside his heart. This place was completely quiet besides this cry. A small gust of wind blew by and slightly lifted her hair. Looking at the woman in white, Wang Lin stopped. He didn't continue climbing up the mountain but calmly looked at her. The crying slowly stopped. The woman seemed to have noticed that there was someone behind her, but she didn't turn around. "This is my tombstone." After a long time, a ghostly voice came from the woman in white. This voice was very faint, as if it came from far away. Unless one listened carefully, it was difficult to hear clearly. Wang Lin silently pondered a bit and then slowly said, "I can see it." The moment Wang Lin spoke, the woman in white suddenly trembled as if she wanted to turn around, but after pausing for a second, she didn't. After a long time the woman asked, "Can you see me? Can you hear me crying?" "I can," Wang Lin said calmly. In truth, if he wanted to, he could see all the dead souls here. This was greatly related to his life and death essence. Life and death, the difference between the left and right hand. Similar yet different. The woman touched the writing on the tombstone and softly said, "You aren't not the one I'm waiting for. Nor am I your soul." Wang Lin looked up past this point and at the top of the mountain. There were 7 or 8 more graves that gave off a dark aura. There was a number of dead souls, and about 2 or 3 of them are powerful enough to be refined into middle-grade ghost sails. These were the best quality dead souls at the Ghost Peak. "I can't find my body, I can only find this tombstone." After the woman in white spoke, she began to cry again. Wang Lin silently pondered for a bit as he raised his feet to talk toward the top of the mountain, toward the few high-quality dead souls. However, after a few steps, the crying of the woman in white became a bit more intense. "Where is my body? Where is my home? Where is my home?" The woman's voice entered Wang Lin's heart and he stopped. "What is your name?" "Forgot." The woman shook her head as she cried. "From now on, you will be called Brilliant Void." After Wang Lin spoke, he suddenly turned and waved his right hand. The woman disappeared and the only things that remained was the grave and tombstone. Shortly after, Wang Lin left. He didn't choose any of the high-quality souls, but this woman in white, even though her soul could only refine a beginning-grade ghost sail. But when the woman asked where her home and family were, Wang Lin's heart trembled. The process of fusing the dead soul into the ghost sail didn't take long, one day was enough. After the dead soul of the woman in white fused with Wang Lin's ghost sail, its color changed to white. The sound of crying would come out of the white sail and enter one's heart. It would make one think of the figure of a woman in white crying. On the 7th day, a jade penetrated layers of protection and arrived before Wang Lin, who was inside his cave. "Wang Lin, listen to this order. Go to the Heavenly Bull's 3rd key point and guard it." Esteemed Green Bull's voice came echoed in the cave and the jade floated motionlessly before Wang Lin. Wang Lin opened his eyes, his gaze calm. His divine sense scanned the jade and information entered his mind. Generations of ancestors of the Great Soul Sect had spent immeasurable amounts of time to create 7 key spots on the Heavenly Bull continent. They were based on the 7 meridians of the Heavenly Bull. At these 7 meridians, one could borrow the power of the Heavenly Bull through a powerful formation. At the same time, it would bring a lot of mysterious benefits to the cultivators of the Heavenly Bull continent. The Great Soul Sect's first-generation ancestor had divinated Wang Lin's arrival and the Green Devil continent's large-scale invasion. How could they not have anything prepared? Whether it was the 7 meridians or the disciples who resided in the Pill Sea. They were all pieces placed by the Great Soul Sect. If the Great Soul Sect cared, the Pill Sea wouldn't have been so easily refined. Although the Green Devil continent was powerful, they couldn't compare to the first-generation ancestor of the Great Soul Sect in terms of divination. This was because the first-generation ancestor was from the same school as the current imperial teacher. A Dao inheritor from ancient times. Esteemed Green Bull hadn't only given a jade to Wang Lin, but to a total of 4 elders in the Great Soul Sect. Putting the jade away, Wang Lin stood up and dusted his clothes before calmly walking out from the mountain. The moment he left, the sea of fire on the mountain gathered behind him to form his essence true body. It slowly fused with his body and disappeared. With one step, Wang Lin turned into a ray of light and flew toward the entrance of the Great Soul Sect. Behind him was a ray of light, charging toward the entrance with Wang Lin. The two of them were very fast, but the ray of light behind Wang Lin passed him and arrived one step before him to reveal a middle-aged man in green. This man looked ordinary, and he turned around to look at the incoming Wang Lin. The middle-aged man looked profoundly at Wang Lin and slowly said, "Elder Wang, I'm Lu Wenran." Wang Lin calmly landed and looked at the middle-aged man. Elder Lu is very unfamiliar. During Wang Lin's time at the Great Soul Sect, he had some impression of most of the elders, beside those old monsters. But this was his first time meeting this middle-aged man. I was stationed in a place far away by the old ancestor and have just returned, so it's natural that Elder Wang is unfamiliar with me. The middle-aged man smiled. In the middle of their conversation, 2 more rays of light arrived from the sect, revealing a man and woman. The woman was Yang Lu and the man was a young man in a Daoist robe. Yang Lu greets Elder Lu. I didn't expect Elder Lu to be coming with us. Yang Lu and Lu Wenran knew each other and greeted each other with smiles. It is an honor to have Elder Yang Lu and Elder Shudonda with me. The middle-aged man and Lu Wenran smiled. Greetings, Elder Lu. The young man in the Daoist robe remained calm as he clasped his hands at Lu Wenren. Then he no longer spoke. He seemed to be the silent type. Wang Lin looked at the 3 of them. The weakest among them was at the early stage of Void Turbulent. The middle-aged man named Lu Wenren was at the mid-stage of Void Turbulent. He was at the same cultivation level as the 7-colored Celestial Sovereign, but he felt greatly inferior. With these 3 people, it was already a powerful force. Compared to them, Wang Lin's peak spirit void cultivation really couldn't compare. While Wang Lin was observing the 3 of them, the 2 beside Yang Lu were also observing Wang Lin. During this time, Wang Lin had gained a certain amount of fame in the Great Soul Sect. Shudonda looked at Wang Lin and thought to himself, someone who can enter the 7th and 8th floors of the Soul Scripture Pavilion can't be underestimated. This person safely left the Pill Sea and also caused the Celestial Pill to explode. I can't judge him based on what I see on the surface. Also, the fact that he was able to return from the Pill Sea so quickly is amazing as well. Lu Wenran looked at Wang Lin. He had also returned from the Pill Sea, but it was with the first ancestors' cloud boat that Enkel teacher Meng had. It was one of the first-generation ancestors' extremely mysterious treasures, and its speed was unimaginable. Okay, since everyone is here, our task is to head to the Heavenly Bull's 3rd meridian and guard against the Green Devil continent's invasion. This trip will be one of life and death, and it will be unpredictable. Everyone should be careful. Lu Wenran took a deep breath and clasped his hands at the other 3. Wang Lin silently pondered. Yang Lu and Shudonda didn't speak either, they only nodded. The 4 of them quickly left the Great Soul Sect. Many other teams like them left the Great Soul Sect. They had all received the old ancestors' command to guard various locations. The four of them were all very fast. In particular, Lu Wenran, who was at the mid-stage of Void Turbulent. He moved as if he was accompanied by thunder. As for Yang Lu and the cultivator called Shudongda, they were both at the early stage of Void Turbulent, so they weren't slow. Only Wang Lin's speed couldn't compare to theirs in the long term. His eyes lit up and he summoned the mosquito beast. He sat on the back of the mosquito as it charged forward. The moment the mosquito beast appeared, the other three all looked over. They all noticed that the mosquito beast was extraordinary. Lu Wenren smiled and asked, "Elder Wang's fierce beast speed is comparable to a Void Turbulent cultivator. I wonder, where did Elder Wang obtain it?" The moment he spoke, Yang Lu and Shudongda began to pay attention. "I obtained it in my hometown," Wang Lin said briefly and calmly. "Oh? I wonder where Elder Wang's hometown is." Lu Wenran revealed a look of interest. "Elder Lu." Wang Lin frowned and looked at Lu Wenran. Lu Wenran felt that he misspoke and smiled. He stopped asking questions, but he coldly snorted in his heart. The four of them remained silent the whole way. After 7 days, Lu Wenren waved his sleeve and took out a jade. After taking a closer look, he pointed below. "This is the place. This place is a transfer array created by the first-generation ancestor of my Great Soul sect. It can teleport people near the third meridian. It can't be casually used, but I received permission from the old ancestor to use it to get to the third meridian." After Lu Wenran spoke, he rushed down. There was a mountain below. Lu Wenran entered a valley within the mountains according to the jade, and Wang Lin's group of 3 followed. A moment later, a burst of pressure spread out from the valley and a monstrous rumble echoed. A dazzling light erupted, lasting for half an hour before dissipating. There was no one inside the valley. At the extreme sky prairie several months away, the world distorted and clouds swirled. There was a dazzling glow of light as Wang Lin's group of 4 appeared one by one. When the light disappeared, Wang Lin turned toward the direction of the Great Soul sect and his eyes revealed a serious gaze. "This transfer array is very profound." Wang Lin was not surprised that the immortal astral continent had transfer arrays. The immortal astral continent was too large. If there were no transfer arrays, just the time spent on traveling would take far too long. I wonder if there are any transfer arrays between continents. Even if any exist, they would be extremely difficult to activate. The jade in Lu Wenran's hand shattered after he took it out. Although Wang Lin didn't know what was in the jade to be able to support activating a transfer array like this, he was certain that the Great Soul sect didn't have many of those. This was also why transfer arrays would only be used at a critical moment. This kind of consumption was something not even a sect could bear too much of. In truth, Wang Lin's speculation was accurate. The Great Soul sect indeed had these transfer arrays, but every activation cost unimaginable amounts of resources. Although the Great Soul sect have a lot of resources, even they couldn't afford to activate these transfer arrays more than 100 times in 10,000 years. When the 4 of them appeared, it was still dusk. The golden sun shined on the grass, giving the extreme sky prairie its own sense of beauty. This is the location of the third meridian. The Great Soul sect set up an underground palace here. The cultivators from the nearby sect should be here, along with the rogue cultivators from here. After Lu Wenran spoke, he stepped forward and disappeared into the ground. Yang Lu and Shudongda followed and disappeared. Wang Lin pondered a bit before he disappeared into the earth as well. The 4 of them quickly moved underground and soon saw a giant cave that was dug out deep underground. Rather than a cave, it was more like a large group of palaces. Outside this group of palaces, there were layers of restrictions protecting it. If it wasn't for the fact that they were elders of the Great Soul sect and had tokens to enter, it would be difficult to enter this place. There were nearly 10,000 cultivators in this large group of palaces. These were mostly cultivators from nearby sects, or nearby rogue cultivators. After receiving the command from the Great Soul sect, they had rushed here. Wang Lin's group of 4 had just gotten close when a burst of hearty laughter came from the palaces. 3 rays of light closed in, revealing 3 old men, and they all clasped their hands. "Brother Lu, it has been 1,000 years since we last met. You finally came. Brother Jew, after receiving the old ancestor's order, I rushed here as soon as possible. It's good that no Green Devil Continent cultivators have arrived. When Lu Wenren met the old man, he smiled and they began chatting. The other two elders clasped their hands at Yan Lu and Shudongda. They seemed to have met and were very polite to them. The three old men only nodded at Wang Lin because his cultivation didn't seem worthy of attention in their eyes. Wang Lin's expression was calm. The three old men's cultivation levels were not bad. Two of them were at the mid-stage of Arcane Void, and the old man named Ju talking to Lu Wenren had a slightly higher cultivation level. He was at about 6 or 7 Arcane Tribulants, about the same as Du Qing. You all have met Yan Lu and Elder Shu. This is Elder Wang, who has just joined my Great Soul sect. He came to help us fight against the Green Devil Continent. Lu Wenren pointed at Wang Lin and introduced him to the three. There was still a large amount of people from the other sects nearby. They all looked at Lu Wenren and company with respect. After hearing Lu Wenren's introduction, the three of them were all shocked and looked at Wang Lin. They had thought that Wang Lin was merely a disciple, but he turned out to be an elder. They all clasped their hands and smiled, acting very polite, but after this, they ignored Wang Lin to continue talking to Yan Lu and company instead. The strong were respected in the cultivation world. Wang Lin's cultivation level was truly not high, so it was reasonable for the three of them to not pay attention to him. The others that saw this naturally made their own judgment. Wang Lin didn't care about this. He looked around and silently left to find an open cave to cultivate in. Lu Wenren sneered in his heart and his gaze swept by Wang Lin's back. For the sake of the Great Soul sect, I stayed in the Pill Sea and changed my appearance to that of a rogue cultivator to attract the attention of the Green Devil Continent. I stayed there for over 1,000 years. Also that the Green Devil Continent wouldn't have any doubts and would invade the Heavenly Bull Continent as the old ancestor had planned. I did all of this, but the old ancestor didn't give me the complete multi-layered illusion spell. What qualifications does he have to obtain it? Lu Wenren sneered in his heart. Wang Lin suddenly turned around and met his gaze. Lu Wenren's expression remained unchanged. He smiled gently and nodded at Wang Lin. Wang Lin looked at Lu Wenren profoundly. He then turned around and picked a cave before disappearing. Among Lu Wenren's group of three, Yan Lu understood Wang Lin the most. She could not forget how terrifying Wang Lin was. Along the way, she had noticed the hidden conflict between them. After everyone chatted, the three old men invited Lu Wenren and company into the Grand Hall, but they didn't mention Wang Lin at all. Obviously, in their eyes, Wang Lin wasn't qualified and could not be compared with Lu Wenren and company. The six of them went into the palace in the distance while smiling. Lu Wenren was the same, as if he had forgotten Wang Lin existed. After the six of them left, the surrounding people from the other sect scattered. After the people of the Great Soul sect arrived, the formation around the extreme sky prairie activated completely. When the formation activated, a thunderous rumble rang out. A barrier of energy hundreds of kilometers wide extended across the extreme sky prairie and went even further. At the same time, the cultivators from the Great Soul sect or the Gui Yi sect arrived at the remaining 6 Heavenly Bull meridians. Their arrivals caused the formations around those meridians to active as well. As a result, when all 7 meridians were activated, the giant barrier spread out across the remaining 6 meridians as well. A total of 7 barriers appeared. They connected together to form a giant barrier that protected the Heavenly Bull Continent from the Pill Sea. This barrier was created by more than 100,000 cultivators and was more than 100,000 kilometers thick. It was not something ordinary cultivators could enter. Even someone like old ancestor Green Bull would find it difficult to get through. It could be said that it would be nearly impossible. This was because aside from just the power of the formation itself, it also contained the power of the Heavenly Bull. These 7 Heavenly Bull meridians were being activated fully for the first time since they were created, and they would play a vital role. Aside from these 7 Heavenly Bull meridians, there were also 72 earth veins that were being guarded by people of the Great Soul sect and smaller sects. Their 72 earth veins gathered endless energy and celestial energy to support the 7 Heavenly Bull meridians. These were all for defense, but how could the Great Soul Sect prepare for so many years only to defend? There was another group of cultivators responsible for killing. There were countless caves around the palaces underground that were for the cultivators that had gathered to live in. An oppressive feeling spread out in the hearts of everyone. They knew a great war was about to begin. If the Green Devil Continent cultivators wanted to break the barrier, then they would have to destroy the 7 meridians. To do so, they would send a large amount of cultivators to attack them. Soon, the calm sky of the extreme sky prairie would be covered in cultivators from the Green Devil Continent. Yang Lu also chose to enter closed-door cultivation to keep her cultivation at her peak. Shudonga and Lu Wenran did the same, only they chose a palace rather than a cave. After all, their statuses were high and they were considered to be the main force guarding this place. In truth, there were 4 other people among the 10,000 cultivators that were at the early stage of Void Turbulent. Although they were from small sects or rogue cultivators, their statuses were high as well. They were invited into the palaces as the deciding force in this battle. Time passed as Wang Lin calmly sat inside his small cave. There were many caves around him, including an old man who didn't recognize Wang Lin after Wang Lin recovered, but Wang Lin recognized him. This old man was the one who had talked to Wang Lin in the extreme sky prairie. He was obviously not at the Void Turbulent stage, so he couldn't enter the palaces. He could only choose one of the outer caves. In truth, with Wang Lin's identity, he could choose a palace if he really wanted to, but Wang Lin wasn't interested. Rather than being secretly talked about by others if he chose a palace, it would be better to be here and have peace. While sitting there, he slowly cultivated and his divine sense slowly spread out. Borrowing this time, he refined the blue umbrella and the soul fantasy origin to a more profound level. He also took out the compass restriction and scattered it across the prairie. This item was extremely mysterious. Even when he spread it out, not even Lu Wenren, who had the highest cultivation level here, noticed. Time flashed by. An unknown amount of days had passed. Aside from the sound of cultivation, there was no other sound among the palaces and the caves around them. Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes. The moment he opened them, the compass before him trembled. A green line suddenly appeared on the map of the extreme sky prairie. This green line was formed by countless green dots, and there were more and more green dots coming. Here they come. Staring at the compass, Wang Lin's eyes shined. He was going to complete the 3 conditions set by the Great Soul Sect. Then he would leave this place and head to Donglin, toward the ancient Dao clan. When Wang Lin noticed the arrival of the Green Devil Continent cultivators, Lu Wenran opened his eyes and revealed a cold gaze. Fellow cultivators, the cultivators of the Green Devil Continent has arrived. This voice echoed through the group of palaces. The aura of cultivating disappeared and all the cultivators here opened their eyes. The several Void Turbulent cultivators, like Yang Lu and Shudonga, noticed something and killing intent spread out. There was a shocking howling sound over the extreme sky prairie. More than 10,000 cultivators flew above the prairie, covering up the originally sunny sky. Among the 10,000 cultivators, there were 6 people who were the fastest. Among the 6, there were 4 men and 2 women. They were dressed extravagantly and their cultivation levels were among the peak of the Green Devil Continent. The 2 old men who gave off mid-stage Void Turbulent cultivation were the 2 strongest cultivators in this army of more than 10,000 cultivators. The remaining 4 were all at the early stage of Void Turbulent. The 6 of them charged ahead and the rest of the army followed behind them, covering the sky of the extreme sky prairie. Killing instead spread out like a dark cloud covering the area. Brother Zhong, let the 2 of us join forces to see the power of the Heavenly Bull's 7 meridians. One of the mid-stage Void Turbulent old men looked at his companion with a smile. Brother Zhao's idea is good. I heard that this formation can form the soul of the Heavenly Bull. I want to see what this Heavenly Bull looks like. The old man named Zhong smiled and nodded. At their cultivation level, they had seen through a lot and wouldn't die so easily. In their view, this invasion was just a game. From a mentality point of view, they were much better than Lu Wenran, but there was still a big gap between them and the 7-colored celestial sovereign. Although their cultivation levels were similar, their courage and calmness were lacking. As they spoke, they both raised their right hands and formed seals before pointing at the prairie. The earth rumbled and layers of clouds appeared before them to form a 100,000 feet giant that charged forward. There was a dark light in the sky that seemed to tear it open, and 3 flying swords appeared. The moment the 3 swords appeared, black gas spread out. All the grass on the earth withered as if all their vitality were absorbed. The 3 swords charged forward with the giant. But just as the 3 swords and giant closed in, endless fog spread out from the extreme sky prairie. The dark fog shrouded most of the prairie and continued to spread. The muffled roar of a bull came from the fog. Soon, the large amount of fog formed the shape of the heavenly bull, and it let out a shocking roar toward the giant and the 3 swords. As the roar echoed, the heavenly bull suddenly exploded. The fog rapidly spread toward the Green Devil continent cultivators. At the same time, deep underground, Lu Wenran had a serious expression and let out a roar. All void turbulent cultivators, follow me and slaughter our way out. In this fog formation, we have unlimited energy and can freely extract power from the fog. With this roar, 7 rays of light charged out with Lu Wenran, leading the charge. They disappeared into the fog. On the surface, fog completely shrouded the Green Devil continent cultivators. Then the nearly 10,000 cultivators underground all flew out. A large battle had begun. Wang Lin was among that group of cultivators. He was calm and instantly merged into the fog. The fog would hinder the Green Continent cultivators by blocking their divine senses. However, for those of the Heavenly Bull continent, the fog would enter their bodies and nourish them. This video will end here.